What is good, guys? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one, I want to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvidia, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down some very important technical developments on the chart, what you should be watching for on SPY and the QQQ as we're approaching new all-time highs. I'm also going to break down the news affecting the markets, what you should be watching for going into the upcoming trading day. But before I break into this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you are guaranteed up to 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed up to 15 free stocks, and the offer ends very, very soon. Anyways, now let's break down what's happening to Tesla. Right now, Tesla's on a nice uptrend, making higher highs and higher lows and higher highs. This is just a short-term uptrend, guys. I'm not saying this is like a massive one that's going to last forever. And we're going to be watching this resistance the closer we get to this like 195 area. But overall, Tesla's been slowly uptrending for the short term, trying to push up higher. We're going to be watching to see if we can get this breakout very soon. I'm going to break down more details about this because SPY and the QQQ are approaching these new all-time highs. I'm going to talk about how this could actually affect Tesla. So one thing that's worth noting is that for SPY, this thing got this rejection of 501. Now it's just under 500, but it's trying to fight above that. So we're going to watch and see if this thing could just continue to push above the 500s, or do we end up getting a rejection? So be very careful right here. I'll be talking about this in more detail in just a minute. Let me just note that right now we have just about 440,000 of these calls expiring, a little bit less than that. And we have over 875,000 puts expiring, which gives us a 2.00 puts to call ratio. So the majority of these positions are puts, and the market makers could attempt to squeeze shorts again. Now, PepsiCo had its earnings report. This basically had an EPS of 1.87 with revenue at 27.8 billion, which was a little bit of a miss. EPS was a beat, revenue was a small miss, and their overall estimates were not the best for their guidance. So that's not so good news for them. That's why we saw them drop a little bit, and now it's kind of flat. The S&P 500 crossed 5,000 for the first time in the final minutes of trading yesterday, and now we're seeing this thing just continuing to rip. SPY just reached 500, but the question is, can we continue to break into new all-time highs and hold them, or are we about to see some profit takers? We had Pinterest earnings and PepsiCo. They each had mixed earnings for the fourth quarter, weaker than expected guidance. Their revenue is also not the best for either of them. EPSs were decent, but this is very important. Without good guidance, both of them are looking a little bit more, I would say, ambiguous now. We're starting to see some sellers stepping in. Not the best of news. Google is rebranding its AI chatbots, which is very important. This is going to be good for their Android users. And also, iPhone users could gain access to it using a Google app. So this could be, good for people who are interested in using its powerful AI models. That's good news for those people out there. Prices on cocoa are basically at all-time highs, and this is after bad weather dented the West African crop yields. That's a little bit negative because you have to remember 3/4 of the world's cocoa production comes from the region, including Ghana and the Ivory Coast. So that's not the best of news. This is affecting a lot of companies out there. It's also affecting the lives of people that live around the area. So I just want the best for everyone. That in turn is just not what we're basically seeing. Excuse me. And on top of this, their airport lounges are getting more exclusive at Delta Airlines. So good for them. More updates are just, very interesting. Anyways, that's it for the news involving the markets. For today, it's Friday, February 9th. At 1:30 p.m., watch Logan give a speech. He's one of the most hawkish Fed speakers, so just be careful. And besides that, the market's at extreme greed, so be careful at these levels. Anyways, as far as Tesla goes, we're going to be watching something very, very critical. SPY is on a very, very big uptrend. We're going to be watching its resistance. And also, Tesla is looking bullish from a technical standpoint. But please note that every morning, for the last 5, 6 days, Tesla has sold off and bounced, sold off and bounced. So I think there's a chance we might see Tesla reject here. Could come down to fill this gap. If we lose 190, that's going to be key because that's where our 4 hour, not our 4 hour, our 50 EMA happens to be on. So yes, it's the 4 hour 50 EMA. If we lose this, we could come down, retest 188 and then bounce. We could see something like that happen to Tesla. So it could, if we lose 190, watch it come down to fill this gap in the 189s. Could even come a little bit lower, grab liquidity down here, then push back up, just like how we did for the last 2 days. So be careful. I think it might kind of like drop a little bit when we open, fill this gap, and then bounce. And we're going to be looking for this uptrend to continue. Now, is Tesla on a huge uptrend right now? I'm not going to count on it like that. We're on a slow uptrend for now. It's a small one. And we could be approaching 195 very soon, ultimately. So, to be bullish on Tesla, you want to see this thing basically break 190. Once this breaks, you can be looking for a push to 192.5 and eventually 195 up here. To become bearish, you need to see it basically lose this support right here at 190, and then we have to try to hold 188. If we lose that, we could turn a bit more bearish. I'm not leaning in that direction. I'm kind of in the middle with this, actually. I think that we might see Tesla kind of like drop a little to fill with this gap, maybe come down like this and then try to rebound and possibly break out a little bit later. But we'll have to see about the breakout, how well it can break above 191. But for now, look for a little pullback. It might pull back just a tiny bit, grab liquidity before it tries to bounce. So watch for that on Tesla. But overall, the trend is still bullish, at least for the short term. It still is trying to uptrend and approach this resistance up here, in my opinion. So watch that very, very carefully. Going to be looking for a push towards the mid 190s, 192, then 195. For SPY, this is actually very simple. So unfortunately for SPY, although this thing has broken all-time highs, it's going to gap up, but be very, very careful. We have a big wick that formed right here. Watch 500 as resistance. This is going to be a tough resistance because this is new territory. We've never been this high before, so be careful, especially at that psychological 500. If we break that, watch 501. If we get above the 501s, I think 503 and 505 are going to be our next levels. If we end up breaking down, watch 499. If we lose that, there's 498, the chop zone from yesterday. And if we lose that, we're going to be sinking to 496 and 494 to fill our gap. Now, what do I think SPY is going to do? Honestly, guys, I'm not entirely sure how well it's going to hold 500. I did warn everyone there could be rejection here. So watch and see this. I know we're hitting all-time highs, but watch this resistance right over here. We'll see if we can try to break 500 or not. It's tricky to predict because it's a psychological level. There could be some profit takers there or not. And then it all depends on how well we could actually hold at these levels. So be very careful. I just want to give you guys a very important warning. Let's see how well we could hold 500. Can we break it or not? We'll have to wait and see. If we do break it, watch the next level of resistance. This is new territory. That's why I'm being a little bit ambiguous, so be careful. For the QQQ, we have a nice uptrend right over here, but watch this resistance. If we lose this yellow trend line at 434, we're going to be sinking back down towards 432.8 and eventually 432 and then 430. If we're bullish, you want to break above the highs in the 435s to 436 area. If we break that, 438 is next. So watch this support right here. Let's see how well we can actually hold this. We can even draw out like a little trend line right here just to like connect these areas. So I think that it's very important to watch for this just to see how well this ends up holding. And we're going to be watching this support from like right about here. So I would say the best thing to do is just be a little bit patient with this. This actually aligns with our 433 area, depending on how low we go. But that doesn't really matter at this point because this is going to be the zone to watch for. If we lose this yellow trend line, watch the breakout areas right here, which takes us back down to 432.8 and also this like 433 area. Watch and see if we retest this and then bounce. So that's going to be very key for the QQQ. And we're going to be watching to see if the market is going to be able to break out or not. We're hitting new territory, so just be careful. On Nvidia could help the QQQ push higher because we have a nice cup and handle like formation. We need to see Nvidia break the 710s first. If we break them, this could push even higher into the 715 area. If we reject off this, watch 700. If we lose that, we're going to be sinking towards 693, then eventually 687. There's a cup and handle like structure. Let's see if this could get a breakout or not. Or do we get a rejection? Always be very careful and open-minded just to be safe. And let's see if we can break the all-time high from here. The cup and handle does give this a bullish sentiment, so just be careful. But what's a little bearish for the markets is Apple because we have a left shoulder here, we have a head and a potential right shoulder forming right here. So if we lose 188, watch 186.5. If we lose that, we're bearish. To turn bullish, you need to break above 190 and hold above it. As of right now, Apple is favoring the bears a little bit more as we have a head and shoulders. So just be very, very careful, everyone. So what can I tell you about the market? It's very simple. SPY is at new all-time highs, so watch resistance very carefully to see how we do. Tesla is known for kind of dropping when we open and pushing, so look and see if we do get some kind of drop to fill this gap. Then we bounce. Tesla's still on an uptrend, so we'll see how well it does. But with that being said, thank you all for listening. The market's going to open soon. I'll upload this video as fast as possible. Have a great day. I'll see you guys very soon. Tesla to the moon, and peace out.